But my father never told me what to be. He never told me what to be. He never told me you have to get this job, you got to study this thing, you got to do this. He never imposed that upon
Am I gonna let what this kid does affect who I'm going to be? Like my happiness. It's like, I think every single fucking situation is different. You know, there's no template for anything. There's no, I'm gonna not teach my kid to take risks, or I'm gonna become a completely different person because I now have a kid. Yeah, there's a degree of difference. You're going to have to become a different person to some degree. You have a responsibility. That's just plain and simple. Like, I have to, you know, being a different person is knowing that, oh shit, I have to show up at this place at this certain time. I have to be here for my partner, or I have to do shit that I don't feel like fucking doing because my kid needs me to do it. So I am going to be a different person to some degree, right? But it doesn't change who I am. It just sort of, it's an addition to who I am rather than it changes who I am.
Enhances. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
so, and because of that, and I think, you know, I'm also a very anxious person by nature. I'm always overthinking things. I'm always trying to analyze things. But the one thing that I do know, or I've always had also, that really, especially also thinking about the birth, that calms me down is I know that I'm someone who can really adjust to situations that I'm in. You know, so, and I think that's kind of the guiding principle that I have, because we've had conversations and you guys have talked about, oh, the kid is going to do this, it's not going to be into religion, it's not going to be into that. Like, I don't give a fuck what this kid is into. It's the kid's prerogative. Whatever the kid is into, I'm going to support whatever they're into. If they want to become a Christian fundamentalist, like, okay, that's not my thing, but here's the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So it's about just really, I think the one thing I've really learned that parenting is about, and why I really don't listen to what people are saying, is I've learned that it's about adjusting to whatever circumstance life throws at you.
No, I agree. I think it's a good point. I mean, how have you discussed this with your partner, for instance? Because obviously you think that you will be able to adjust in most situations. Do you think that's the same for her, or like, what's the kind of...
Yeah, you know, I think, you know, like me and my partner, we work really well together because I think we both have sort of a personality that we adjust to circumstances that we're in. I mean, in the 5 years that we've been together, we've been into some really crazy circumstances. We've been into near-death experiences. We've like fucking remodeled an entire house together. And it's just, you know, like, okay, this is the project. All right, this is what we need to learn. Okay, we switch gears. And I think because one thing I'm proud of us being is that we're people who can really see what the situation, the larger picture and the situation needs, and try to adjust to that. You're like, not me, nigga.
Adjusted?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, I was just talking to my mother today about this, and you know, I'm not sure. I think I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how much to direct. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta give this. I don't even. I got to. I'm going to give this kid something. Like, it's not that I have to. It's just by default. You're gonna talk, and your ideas are
gonna come out.
Yeah, it's just gonna come out, right? You're gonna say something, and they're gonna react to it, or they're gonna learn something. And But I think I would be lying to myself to say that I didn't have any expectations of my kids, in the sense that, you know, for example, I want my kids to be open-minded.
Yeah, of course.
But if they decide that they're going to be a religious fundamentalist, then they're not open-minded. They're just that. And everything is around that.
But can you control that?
Well, it's not about control. It's just a matter of whether I would be disappointed or not.
And see, back to that stoic thing that we've talked about. It's like, am I gonna let what this fucking kid does affect who I'm going to be? Like my happiness.
Yo, for sure. But that was the one thing we talked about. Stoicism is hard as shit.
It is hard.
It's hard as
right.
fuck.
But
So
the
I
thing
gotta,
is, at some
but I gotta
point,
be
you gotta be like,
honest for a
you're
second.
on your own now. I've done my job.
Yeah, but I totally get what you're saying. But if I'm honest with myself, it depends on when it happens. It depends on when it happens. If you're like 10 years old and you start having some really strange tendencies to do some really antisocial shit, I don't know.
Of course, you're concerned, yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm just gonna be like, well, I gotta support you, let you do what
it's
you
not
got.
about that.
No, but this is what I mean. Where my difficulty comes when I just have these flashes of being a parent. My difficulty comes in that I'm not sure I'm gonna know when to let go or not, like when to gauge it. Like there's a time when kids, the stereotype is boys get into trouble.
Yeah.
And there's a point where it's like, I don't know, yo, let this little nigga get into trouble right now because he's a little boy. Or,
But then what's trouble?
yo, bro, one of those moves could land you.
Something.
Well, if you stay in Germany, you're safe. If you're back in Toronto, Detroit, Chicago, nigga,
That's why I moved out
don't
here.
cross that line.
No, but one of those things could land you in a bad situation. One of those things could be you end up getting a girl pregnant at 16, for example. And I'm just saying, I like this idea of being super stoic and relaxed and laid back and just letting life happen and not letting things, but it's not really like that, man. It's not I don't think in reality it's gonna be like that. I think
it's the other way though. That it's so, stoicism is not about letting life happen. It's about specifically the exact opposite of that, like being responsible for life. Knowing that everything that fucking happens is your responsibility. And it's not about, for me, not like letting the kid do whatever the hell you want. Of course, there are guiding principles, but I think for me, because I struggle with this with my parents. Like, part of the issue, and especially coming from the culture that we come from, where it is so strict and so top down. And because I had a personality that just didn't conform to that. Like my siblings, they did whatever the fuck our parents told them to do. I did that as well. We all majored in medicine at the beginning, and I was like, no, I think I want to do art. But I saw how antagonistic our relationship was because of that. Because they were so adamant that this is the right path for you if you want a good job in life, if you want a good life, if you want this, if you want that. And I rejected that so much. And I just don't want that for my kid, that I'm forcing my kid in a position that they naturally do not want to be in.
I think I'm listening to what you're saying, and it reminds me of what my therapist said to me one of the first days I was working with her. And she said, the fact that you're doing things in opposite to your father, he's still controlling your life, because your decisions that you're making, even when they're against him, are still relative to him. And I thought about this just now because, for example, my father was very strict. My father was very strict about me not going to jail, not getting shot, and kind of like surviving.
But is that strict, or that's just
No,
making
no,
sure that
he was
he's like he's
stay alive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Still
he
on
was, but he was pretty intense about it. You know what I mean? There was a lot of beating. There was a lot of physical abuse. There was a lot of psychological, mental abuse. There was a lot that happened in that. But my father never told me what to be. He never told me what to be. He never told me, you have to get this job. You got to study this thing. You got to do this. He never imposed that upon me. The only thing he imposed upon me was religion. It's like you gotta read the Bible and and Jah and
Which you now
the whole thing.
reject.
Huh?
Which you now
Which I now
adamantly
reject.
yeah.
Exactly. And this is the thing I gotta watch. You know what I mean? For me, I'm not totally against. I'm not 100% against religion. I'm 100% against closed-mindedness.
Right.
This is the only thing I'm against. If you want to be religious, but you are still open-minded, and this is just something that helps you keep a moral path or some values together, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. When you become fundamentalist, and this is all you see, and everything has to fit into this, I got a problem with that. And it doesn't have to be religion, but it's with anything.
I mean, I
It's
would
with
say
anything.
I completely agree with you. I would just say thread carefully with that, simply because when you become so against something, you don't realize that you're actually balancing it. And in the opposite direction, you are mirroring that very thing.
Well, we're saying the same thing.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
that
what I'm saying.
you're
We're-
so against people who are closed-minded and they need to be this thing that's open-minded and this thing. Like, there's not really that much of a difference at the end.
It's a good point.
Thank you for tuning in to Wolfgang. If you like the podcast, please check us out on our YouTube channel or any of your favorite audio platforms. Likes or subscribes are always welcome. The Wolfgang Dads will be back this Monday and every Monday after that, so stay tuned.